A Frontier. These are the voyages of the podcast Captain Slug. Its ongoing mission to explore strange new episodes, to seek out new jokes and new references, to split infinitives that no one has split before. Captain Slog, Stardate 56. You join me, Eddie Edwards, and my friend and colleague, Mr. Mark Bench, as we trek our way through all of Star Trek, The Next Generation. Mark, how you doing? How you been?
Doing all right. So I found this earlier. Where is it? So Laura and I are hopefully... No, I probably shouldn't say her name, because she didn't, you know, it's... You want to keep people anonymous, innit? So, L. No, she's been on this. No, fuck it, who cares?
She
knows who she is. Her and James are the only people that fucking listen to this. I just don't want to dox myself. So, Laura, if you're wondering who I'm talking about, it's you. Anyway, we're hopefully moving into a new house soon, and I want to start getting pets. I like cats. So we're getting a corgi, because the thing is, I'm not a big dog person. I'm fine. It's fine. It's great, right? So I never had a dog growing up. I don't really know what it's like to have a dog. I've always had cats. I prefer cats, but I like corgis because they're ridiculous, and big dogs frighten me. So today I looked up. What's the deal with corgis? Are they hard to train? And it looks like they're not particularly hard to train or have around you if you are like sort of happy enough to go along with them, and like a proactive trainer, which is good for me because it takes me about a year to get bored of things. And
that's enough time to train a dog.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, it's like the corgis are notoriously stubborn. So am I. So no doubt he'll hit out with some opinion that I'm just going to disagree with, and then we'll never speak to each other again after that.
If you're going to get a corgi, I will say before you do, look into the wonderful world of like corgi mixes, because if you breed a corgi with any other dog, what you get is basically a corgi that's been reskinned. They look exactly the same as a corgi, but with just the fur and face of whatever dog you bred them with, and it's amazing.
Nice. So I was looking up corgi training, and there was this website that I got to, and it's a woman who's trained 152 corgi litters over the 62 years of her life. And she said the best thing, and this is a direct quote, the best thing to do if you have a puppy and you want to socialise them is take them to a playground when the children are out and just stand there. In 5 minutes, you'll have a circle of children around that puppy, and that's what you want. Is it?
Is it? Is that what you want? I think if you're a female dog trainer, that might be what you want. Yeah. I think as a large Scottish man, that might not be what you want. Yeah. Unless you want to be on a register. Look,
I mean, we've discussed on this podcast before about how difficult it is to be a straight white man in today's society, right? It's hard. Happy International Women's Day, everyone. But genuinely, like as a not doing a bit here, there is one thing that men do not have, which is that we can't go to children's parks like alone. Great. Which is totally fine, but you know that not being able to take our dogs to kids' parks is the not being able to wear headphones at night of being a man.
being a straight white man, we have that is the only thing that really is negative, is we're not trusted around children, and in all honesty, fair.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying that every white man is a paedophile, but what I'm saying is enough white men have been paedophiles in time, that you are making the correct decision to lead with that assumption.
Yesterday there was a report that Saint John Paul II, the patron saint of the straight white man,
and the patron saint of paedophiles,
turned out he just knew what was happening all along.
Oh, what a shock!
Yeah, and it just makes you wonder how many people in an organisation have to be paedophiles before you're like, do you know what?
That's a paedophile organisation.
I read a report that apparently at one point he said, yeah, it could be up to 10% of priests. And it's like, so 5,000? Because if the answer to that question is more than one, then stop.
I'm gonna throw this out there. If your organisation, regardless of what its purpose may actually, like your mission statement may be, but if your organisation has over 1,000 paedophiles in it, your organisation is a paedophile organisation. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if I'm in a Nazi bar, right? Okay, and there's one Nazi there, it's still a Nazi bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it does scale, doesn't it? Because it's like the royal family, as far as we know, has one paedophile in it. And I'm happy enough to call every single one of them pedos and pedo enablers.
Yeah.
And child fanciers.
If you think the Queen was a wonderful woman, just remember that she worked. Well, I say worked. She didn't work. She's bone fucking idle. Never worked a day in her life. But she spent a lot of your money on keeping that paedophile out of prison.
Yeah. Anyway, what was this episode? How are you doing? I keep forgetting to ask, or maybe I do ask. I don't know. Do I ask?
No, what happens usually is we hit about the 5-minute mark, and then I just jump in with how I'm doing because I know you're not going to ask. But thank you for asking, because I'm really glad you have, because I'm really good today. I sent my out of office email for the first time since the Edinburgh Fringe, because I haven't had a fucking holiday in ages. And tomorrow I'm off to Sweden to go to the Melfest, which is the Swedish selection process for their song for Eurovision, which is the biggest television event in Sweden, like in the Swedish year.
That's amazing.
I'm looking forward to it just as a holiday and as a fun experience to do. But also, I'm gonna get at least 20 minutes of good stand-up material from this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All good.
Eurovision, eh?
Yeah, I couldn't get tickets to the actual Eurovision. They went. That was ridiculous.
Yeah,
if they went in like a minute.
When it was announced that it was between Glasgow and Liverpool, all the hotels in Glasgow suddenly became much more expensive, which I don't think was on them. I don't think it was a conscious decision. I think it's an algorithm thing. But suddenly hotel rooms in Glasgow were like $2,500.
Yeah,
for the week of Eurovision, which made a lot of people think, oh, it's definitely coming to Glasgow. So a bunch of people booked hotel rooms here, and then it turned out that it's in Liverpool. So there's a bunch of people who presumably have spent an obscene amount of money on a non-refundable hotel room.
Well, apparently that's what happens, is that a load of people book hotel rooms in the city as soon as it's announced, and then they try and get tickets, and then if they can't, they cancel the hotel reservations. So I don't know if that's any use to anyone, if there's like anybody who's trying to travel to Liverpool. If you've got Eurovision tickets and you're listening to this, that means that you probably know me quite well, and I'd rather not hear about it.
I don't believe in refunds, so I feel like the man should not be allowed to second guess himself. It's the only way forward.
That's fair. If I've ordered something online, it doesn't matter that it didn't arrive when I needed it. I'm just gonna have it forever.
Yeah, you should have thought of that before you ordered it. Only buy things you're prepared to have wasted money on.
And speaking of just really sticking to your guns in that respect, Star Trek.
Did you enjoy this Mad Max crossover?
I had no memory of this episode, so like I figure, like I watched these on TV back when they like first broadcast.
Yeah,
and there were a lot of them that like they repeated, or somebody had them on video if they were like a particularly great episode. You might have watched them a bunch of times. This isn't a particularly great episode, so I don't really know it particularly well. I can't even remember seeing it the first time. I quite liked it.
Yeah, it has that season 3 quality.
Yeah.
It's got some guest stars. It's got your one from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5.
Which one was he?
No, she, the blonde, the
Oh, what,
the
Utah?
Utah, the sort of handmaiden.
Right, okay.
She was Alice from some of the later Nightmare on Elm Street films.
Did you know? I said also an actor I want to shout out. Chargon in this episode was played by an actor called Stephen Lee, who sadly is no longer with us. But I knew him from somewhere, and he's a quintessential that bloke guy when I went onto his IMDb. But there were 2 credits that stood out that I wanted to discuss. He's in a movie that I have not watched, will not watch at any point, and yet, because of what movie it is, I will at a point in the future very much enjoy it, because he is in Carnosaur 3, which will at some point be watched on Best of the Worst. But also, he played Tom Arnold.
Oh.
There was a made-for-TV movie called Tom and Roseanne, the behind-the-scenes story, and he played Tom Arnold. Now, I would say, you could have gotten Tom Arnold.
Yeah. Depending on when it was, you could have gotten Roseanne. He also played... something I found out that I thought was pretty interesting. He also played one of the rare recurring roles on Quantum Leap.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's a... So if you don't know Quantum Leap basically has 2 stars, because every episode is different. But in the last season, they done a sort of gimmick where there was a trilogy of episodes where it was kind of one long story set over about 60 years, and Sam would leap into different people at different points in the story.
Yeah.
All centered around this one person. So he played a sheriff, and I think he was in all 3 episodes.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Good for him.
I liked him. Good actor. So what this episode's about. There's space pirates established for like the first time in TNG.
Yeah.
And they're called the Gatherers, which is a very mild way of putting what is. They turn up at the beginning of this episode. They turn up at like a Federation base that's been robbed, and 2 of the people have been unconscious in a cupboard.
Aye.
But they've not had any contact with this thing placed for 2 days. So they've been stunned 7 times, which means they stunned them, not to unconscious, and then when they were on the floor, they just kept stunning them.
Do you think every stun gets you like 24 hours?
Yeah. Could you do that? Could you like if you got like if you really wanted to, so like somebody really annoyed you, could you like stun them 365 days and then they're just in a coma for a year?
Yeah, but the problem is then you have to feed them, and quite frankly, nothing annoys me more about people than people that have to be fed. That's why children, the elderly, and the severely disabled.
That's why you hated Live Aid so much, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Feed the world. Fuck them.
Hands across America. Use those hands to put a fucking spoon in your face.
So I really liked it this episode. They beam in and like the place has been fucked up, and then there's blood on like a spike, and Beverly looks at it and goes, "Oh, it's blood, but it's not human." It's like, well done, Bev, for ruling out one of a billion possible options.
Worf was there.
It's like, why is that useful information? Yeah. Oh, it's not. There's literally like there are thousands of fucking sentient species in Starfleet.
Do you think that like saying human, like going human first, is kind of the equivalent of like misgendering people in the modern day? Like where Worf's like, no, I'm not. I know that you're used to saying human and mankind, but I'm not. That's not me. You could have just said it's. Why did you have to identify what it wasn't anyway, Beth? Why could you not just have said there's blood on this, and then Riker could have went, yeah, that's why we bring the doctor. We didn't. Or maybe this is maybe this is actually the second time that they've been down there, because why would they bring Beverly straight away? Because it's not like you need to wait on an ambulance. The transporter takes you there immediately. So surely, rather than sending down one of the most valuable people on your flagship starship down to a situation that you have no idea what it looks like, maybe send down Worf first. Worf and Data, right? Why does every mission not start with Worf and Data beaming down, having a look around, beam in Riker, and then Riker goes, there's blood on that spike, beam in Beverly, and then Beverly comes down and goes, ooh, blood, not human. Fine. Anyway, I'm out of here. That's how every mission log should be. Every now and again, just leave Geordie, and maybe he'll figure. That's what I do. Just leave Geordie, and if he figures his way back, he can keep his post.
I would say the only reason that you need to beam Riker down immediately and not like beam Worf and Data down first is if Riker isn't there. I fully believe that Data and Worf would just stand still, having been given no orders. Just be like, so what do we do? And like Worf's going to be like, actually, even though we are all major characters on the same cast, me and you don't actually spend a lot of time alone. So I've got no rapport.
Yeah, and then Worf's like, you know that you're my boss, and Data's like, yeah, I suppose I am, man.
And then Worf's like, but still, you need to open that door because you have. Like, I do quite like that Worf does seem slightly annoyed every time he has to get Data to open a door, when it's like the equivalent of like he's the equivalent strength of like a forklift. Like, it's not a personal slight, Worf. You are very strong compared to everybody else, just not compared to a piece of machinery.
So obviously, like the whole purpose of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Gene's vision. TMR copyright, right? Was that by this point in the future, no one will have any interpersonal conflict. So for the first, we've talked about this at great length, but in the first couple of seasons of TNG, no one has any issues with each other because Gene Roddenberry thought that that's just how a utopian future would be. But we know that's not how it would be. So who do you think talks shit about other crew members, like? Just at 10 forward.
I mean,
who do you think Riker gives it out to?
I imagine that the reason O'Brien seems fairly cocksure is because Riker is venting to him. Like, O'Brien is like, you fire me, and I'm gonna hand over those recordings of you pissed going after Worf.
Yeah.
I reckon everyone, like, I reckon everybody has at some point started ranting about Data, and then somebody else has been like, "Oh, come on," yeah. And then you go, "Okay, he's not that bad," and then like 2 days later, that other person is ranting about Data.
Do you think behind his back they call him the forklift? Fucking Johnny Forklift over here.
I think Troy and Bev never slag each other off to anybody else because they're the only two women in space.
Yeah, but I bet, I don't want to play into stereotypes, especially not on International Women's Day, but I bet when they two get together, it's a fucking riot.
Yeah, I imagine
good for them.
Yeah, I imagine they tell each other everything.
Of the podcast,
and it's like, she's in that, you're not going to believe what O'Brien was saying to me in therapy today. She goes, oh, well, he would be upset given what's happening with his penis. You know. Right. I was going to say, I've got a question about this episode.
Is it about those little square flashlights and how they're definitely more useless than today's flashlights?
Yeah, because of how they hold them. That's obvious. But no,
me, Eddie Edwards, and my friend and colleague,
I was going to ask this because I don't know if I misheard
Star
this.
Trek.
But
Next
is the
Generation.
Gatherer encampment
Mark,
in
how you doing?
the
How you been?
Harambe cluster?
Doing all right. So I found this earlier.
As in the Griller,
Where is it?
who
So
was yet to be a famous
Laura
Griller at that point.
and I,
he was,
hopefully-
I don't know how long Grillers live. I don't know if he
no,
was alive.
I
in
probably shouldn't say her
1985. How
name
long did Grillers live
because
for?
she didn't.
gonna
You know,
Google
it's,
17. So
You wanna
they
keep
can
people
live for
anonymous,
40 years,
innit?
But
So-
Harambe was 17, so it's
L.
not a
No,
direct,
she's been on this.
Deliberate
No, fuck it. Who cares?
thing.
I think
she's
she
been
knows
a
who she
guest.
is. Her and James are the only people that fucking listen to this. I just don't want to dox myself.
I believe an ancient Persian king or Iranian king.
So Laura,
Think
if you're
Gorilla was
wondering
named
who I'm
after.
talking about, it's you.
Was he the king of
Anyway,
Griller City?
we're hopefully
assuming
moving into
that
a
it
new
was
house soon.
It was a griller.
Pretty racist, man.
I want to start getting pets.
That wasn't racist. It was a
So we're
reference
getting
to
a
the Flash.
corgi. Because
Gorilla City. Jesus.
the thing is,
for some reason, like I like
I'm
when
not a
like
big
in
dogs
comic books,
person.
like
I'm fine.
somebody's
It's
arch villain
fine.
isn't the thing
It's-
that makes sense.
Great, right?
Yeah.
Like
I never had
Spider-Man's
a dog
arch
growing
foe is
up.
the Green
I
Goblin
don't really know
because
what it's like to have
goblins
a
are the
dog.
natural enemy
I've
of
always had
spiders,
cats.
right?
I
Yeah.
prefer cats.
right.
But I like
And
corgis
I
because
quite
they're
like that. Like
ridiculous.
that one of the Flashes
And big dogs
like
frighten me.
arch foes is
So
Grilla
today
Groth, who is
I
a
looked
hyper
up-
intelligent psychic
What's
Grilla.
the deal with corgis? Are they hard
That's
to
got
train?
nothing to do with being fast.
And it
I
looks
think
like
the
the kind of
thing
it looks like
is
they're
though,
not
it
particularly
plays
hard
on
to
a,
train.
on a very like a very
have
prominent
around you
fear or a very
if
primal fear.
you
which is
are
that
like
as soon as
sort of
gorillas are
happy enough
are
to go
smarter
along
than
with
us,
them,
we are
and
gone.
like a
we are
proactive
out.
Yeah.
trainer, which
Like
is good for
yeah,
me
we don't.
because
Yeah, we are the.
it takes me
what-
about
homo,
a
we are
year
the, we'll
to
be the
get
Homo
bored of
erectus.
things.
Yeah,
And
what they'll do is
That's
they'll
enough time to
they'll
train
kill
a
us
dog.
all off.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then
And then after
Homo
that,
sapiens
it's like
to something
the
that sounds a lot more
corgis are
sexual.
notoriously
That's
stubborn.
We'll be homo.
So am I.
homo clitoris.
So no doubt he'll hit out with some
That's what we'll be
opinion
known
that
as
I'm just going to
forevermore.
disagree with, and then we'll never
And
speak
they'll
to
be
each
like,
other
why are
again
they
after
called that? And
If
they'll
you're
be
going
like,
to
well,
get
nobody can
corgi, I
find
will
it
say
anymore.
before you do, look into
Then they get a
wonderful
less
world
science
of,
council.
like,
We'll all
corgi mixes, because if you breed
But
a
none of
corgi
them
with
will
any
be
other
wearing
dog,
trousers.
beat their chests,
What you get
I imagine,
is basically
a corgi that's been reskinned. Right.
we
They're
actually want to
exactly the
talk
same
about
as a
what this episode's
corgi,
about?
but with just the fur and face of
we
whatever
could do.
dog
I
you
mean, we
bred
could
them
talk
with,
about
it's
how
amazing.
gorillas look like
Nice.
D&D players. That
So I
just
was
put all
looking
their
up
stats into
corgi
arms
training,
rather than
and
there was this website that I got to, and it's a woman who's
You can say
trained
what you want,
152
when
corgi
our
litters
Griller overlords come
over
in
the
and they
62
find this
years of her
podcast,
life.
I just want
And she
to-
said the
I'm
best thing,
pro-Griller,
and this is a
that's what I'm
direct
saying.
quote,
I
the
don't
best
wanna
thing to
be-
do if you have
kill
a
Mark,
puppy and you want to
put him in
socialise
the
them
slave
I
fighting
don't
pits.
take
I'll
them to
just
a
do some, like,
playground when
clerical
the
work.
children are out.
I don't
and
want to
just
live in that
stand
world,
there.
man. I've seen Planet of the
In
Apes.
5 minutes, you'll have a circle of children around that
yeah,
puppy,
but-
and that's what you want. Does Riker have a scratch card poster of all the humanoid species in the galaxy?
Is it?
Is it? Is that what you want? I think. Right.
I think if you're a
I would like
female dog
to
trainer, that
bring up
might be what
the
you want.
speed with
I think
which,
as a
like,
large
Riker
Scottish
meets a
man,
woman,
that
immediately
might
fancies
not
her.
be
It
what
says
you
she
want.
cooks
Yeah.
for
Unless
him.
you wanna
When
be
she
on
does
the
cook for
register.
him, he's sitting
Look,
with Deanna
I mean,
Troi,
we've discussed
and
on
she's
this
like, "Oh, I don't
this
want to
podcast
intrude." And
before
Deanna
about how
Troi's like,
difficult
"Oh,
it is to be
no.
a straight white man in
I
today's
fought somebody
society,
last
right?
week. It's Wolf's turn."
It's hard. Happy International Women's Day.
Yeah,
everyone.
that's how it went.
But-
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Genuinely, like as like a as a not doing a bit here.
I want to stress
there is
the
one thing
immediacy
that men just
with
that
which
men
Riker
do not
decided
have,
he was going to
which
fuck
is
this
that
woman.
we can't go to children's
And then she gets like
parks.
sent to his quarters
hello?
by the Sovereign.
Great.
And it's kind of like
Which
she's
is
like,
totally
"Oh yeah,
fine,
no,
but you know,
I've been sent
that
here to
good-
pleasure
not
you."
being able to take her
And
dogs to
Riker's like,
kids
"Ah,
parks
this
is
seems
the
really
not being able to wear
non-consensual, so I'm
headphones
gonna
at
stop
night.
it.
Being a man. I don't like it. I believe his words were, "I don't like it when there's no challenge in it."
Being
Just
a
staring
straight
her
man,
straight in the eye.
we have.
That isn't what he
that's the
said.
only
I don't
thing
want
that
Jonathan
really
Frakes to
is
come at
negative
me.
is we're not trusted around
She said
children,
that
and
she doesn't
like
in all
have
honesty,
the capacity
fair.
to feel
Yeah,
pleasure. And Riker was
Because
like, "Well, I'm not going to fuck
I'm not
you then
saying that
because
every
I don't need
every
any
white
more
man is a
women
paedophile.
saying that
But
they
what I'm
didn't
saying
come."
is
Enough white men have been paedophiles in time that you are making the correct
he's
decision
very much
to
known as
lead with that assumption.
wham bam. Thank
I mean,
you,
yesterday
Riker.
there was a report that. Do you think?
Saint
Do you
John
think he
Paul
says set
II,
phasers to stun
the patron
after he
saint
achieves
of
an
the straight
erection?
white man?
And the patron saint of paedophiles.
Why is that? Why is that the
What was
phrase? Why
happening
is it
all along?
achieve an erection?
Oh, what a shock!
Yeah. Because I'll
just-
tell you
it
what,
just-
man.
it just makes
if
you wonder
I
how
if I
many
got
people
like degrees
in an
with the
organisation
ease that I still
have to be
occasionally
paedophiles
get erections at the age of
before you're
34,
like,
I'd be the
you know
smartest
what?
man alive.
That's a
There's no
paedophile
achievement in it
organisation.
whatsoever. I read a report that
I think
apparently
you're right.
at one point he
Something
said,
can be done by accident.
"Yeah, it could be
But
up to
then it shouldn't count as
10%
an
of
achievement.
priests.
And that's what I
It's
say
like-
to all
So
pregnant.
5,000.
Because nobody's
if the answer to
nobody's
that
ever
question
put up a
is
set of
more
shelves
than
by
one,
mistake, right?
then stop.
I'm
You can just wake up. You can't wake up in the
if
morning
your
with a shelf.
organisation, regardless of what its purpose may actually,
can't not know you're having
your
shelves
mission statement
until
may
one
be.
day you go to the
But
toilet
if
and
your
suddenly
organisation
shelves
has
pop out.
over 1,000
take
paedophiles
that
in it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Your
the
organisation
sovereign
is a
of
paedophile
this
organisation.
country.
That's what
That's
it is.
Acamarians.
You know,
It's like if
Patricia
I'm in a
Routledge,
Nazi bar,
right? Okay, and there's
she
one
says
Nazi
the
there.
Starfleet
It's still a
at one
Nazi
point in
bar.
this
You know what I
episode.
mean? It's,
I just
Yeah.
I like
And
that.
it does scale,
I like that,
doesn't it?
but she's
'Cause
an
it's
old
like-
woman.
It's the,
The
same
royal
way
family,
that
my
as far
mum
as we know,
refuses
has
to
one
learn the
paedophile.
name of any games console.
And I'm happy enough to call every single
just
one
the
of them
Nintendo?
pedos and
No,
people
no,
enablers.
it's not that. No, she likes to
And-
play this on
and
hard
child
fancy.
If you think
It'll
the Queen
be,
was a wonderful
like,
woman,
if
just
I- if
remember
I
that
told
she
her about something
worked,
that, like, I said,
well, I
"Oh,
say
I've got a
worked. She didn't work.
PS5
She's bone fucking idle.
next
Never
week,
worked
she'll
a day
be
in her
like,
life.
"What
But she
price your
spent a lot of
P5
your
for?"
money on keeping that paedophile out of prison.
Like she'll intentionally
Anyway, what was
set
this
out
episode
to
of-
get
Oh,
it
how are
just
you
slightly
doing?
wrong. I keep forgetting
And
to
I-
ask,
and I-
or maybe I
respect
do
that.
ask. I don't know.
I
Do
hope it's a
ask?
bit. I hope.
No,
I hope
what
on
happens
our
usually is
deathbed-
we hit about the 5-minute mark,
She-
and then I
she
just jump
tells
in
me
with
that
how
there
I'm
was a
doing
bit
because
the
I
whole
know
time.
you're not going to ask. But
Yeah.
thank you for
She's
asking
like,
because I'm really glad you
I've
have.
played
'Cause I'm
every
really
console
good.
since the
Today-
Magnavox
Well,
Odyssey.
today
Yeah.
I sent my out of
'Cause, like,
office email
There's lots
for
of
the
reasons
first
that I'm
time
looking
since
forward
the
to my
Edinburgh
deathbed.
Fringe because I haven't had a fucking holiday in ages. And tomorrow I'm off to
But one of the
Swindon
main ones is to finally
to
unveil the
go
long-term
to
fix
the
that I've been doing.
Melfest, which is the Swedish
There's gonna be a lot
selection
of people
process for
invited.
their song for Eurovision, which is the biggest television
Speaking of
event
long-term bits.
in Sweden,
Listen,
like
you,
in the
the
Swedish year.
woman in this
That's
episode,
amazing.
who- to
I'm-
give it away,
I'm looking forward to it.
Just
a planet
as a
that had
holiday
lots
and
of,
as
like,
a fun
clan
experience
infighting,
but
and they
also
don't do that
anymore.
anymore.
I'm gonna get at least.
But
20
she's
minutes
actually
of
the
good
last
stand-up
remaining person
material
of one of
for
the
this.
clans, and she exists
So,
as a biological
yeah.
weapon to kill
Nice.
members of the
Yeah.
other. Right, that's
All
the thing.
good.
Eurovision, eh?
She's like the
Yeah.
chef.
I couldn't
to
get
the
tickets to the
sovereign,
actual
which is
Eurovision.
the
They were-
equivalent
they
of being
were-
like the
that was
Queen's
ridiculous.
personal
Yeah.
chef. If they
Yeah.
went in like a minute, and Riker says to her,
So
"Have you got
when
any
it was announced that it
specialities?"
was
She's
between
like,
Glasgow and
"No."
Liverpool,
Like she's not
all
very
the
good
hotels
at
in
being a
Glasgow
chef. How'd
suddenly
you get that
became
job?
much more
Is the
expensive, which I
system
don't
on their
think
planet
was
is
on
like,
them. I don't
well,
think
there's
it's a
better
conscious
chefs,
decision.
but she
I think it's
applied
an
first,
algorithm thing.
so we had to give her
But
the job.
suddenly
This is how
hotel
it
rooms in
goes.
Glasgow were
Like,
like
that's
2.5
society.
grand
Yeah.
for the week of Eurovision, which made
Yeah, I
a lot of
don't know,
people
'cause
think,
if
oh,
I
it's
was in
definitely coming
charge,
to
and again,
Glasgow,
God
so a
willing,
bunch
one day
of
I
people
will be.
booked hotel rooms here. And
I
it turns out
imagine-
that it's in
and-
Liverpool,
and,
so there's
like,
a bunch of
fully
people
in
who
charge,
presumably
like Henry
have spent
VIII
an
in
obscene
charge,
amount of
like,
money
ready to get
on a
my whole family.
non-refundable hotel room.
Well, apparently,
I'd say
that's
my chef just
what
has
happens
to.
is that a load of people book hotel
We'll
rooms
probably
in the
just
city as
rotate
soon as
between
it's
three
announced.
dishes, and one of
And
them
then
will
they
be
try
just
and get
calling
tickets,
up
and then if
Domino's.
they can't, they cancel the hotel reservations. So,
Also,
I do
I
want
don't
to say
know
about this,
if
official
that's
chef
any
of
use
the
to
sovereign.
anyone.
It's
If
like
there's
they're like,
anybody
oh,
who's
we've put
tried
aside
to
all
travel
the
to different
If you've got
cities in the
Eurovision
past,
tickets
we're a much
and you're
more
listening to
peaceful
this
nation.
that
This
means
is
that
my
you
chef,
probably
who
know me
must
quite
eat
well.
every dish
and I'd rather not hear
before
I
about
consume
it.
it to make sure it's a poison. Well, it doesn't sound like you
I don't believe in
achieve
refund.
peace, does it? If
Yeah,
you're
but-
constantly in fear of being poisoned to death.
To be fair, man, like
I feel
as
like
soon as
I feel like
'cause
the man shouldn't
I
be allowed
don't
to
have
second
kids,
guess himself.
as far as I am aware. But I'm
the only way
fairly sure
forward.
that as soon as I do have kids, and like I'm very
That's
blasé
fair.
about my own
That's fair.
safety.
If I've ordered
right?
something online, it doesn't matter. It didn't
Because
arrive
again,
when I
the
needed
quicker I
it.
get to death,
No,
the
I'm
quicker
just-
it
I'm
all
gonna have
gets
it forever.
revealed, right? Yeah, you should have thought of that before you ordered. I'm sure that when I have kids, a switch is going to flip. Where I'm
Only
like,
buy things you're
right,
prepared
I
to
need
have
protect
wasted
this
money
thing,
on.
right? I'm going to be doing that at
And, like,
nursery.
and
I'm going to be going to
speaking of just
nursery and
really
they're
sticking
like,
to your
we're going to
guns
be
in
feeding
that
the kids
respect.
lunch. I'll be like, I'll be having a bite of it first. Thank you very much.
Did
To
you
make sure
enjoy
that you
this
haven't
Mad Max
poisoned them.
crossover?
Oh, I thought you were going to say
I
that when you were going to
can't-
have kids, you were going
I-
to make sure that they.
I
they
had no
taste all your
memory
food
of
before
this
you have
episode.
it. So, like, I figure, like,
That's a better
I kind
idea.
of. I watched these on TV back when they like
Once you've had
first
one kid, you know
broadcast.
everything works.
Yeah.
You can always
And
bang out
there were a lot of them like
I am.
repeated,
I'm
or somebody
going
had
to
them on
prevent
video if they were, like, a
patricide
particularly
by
great episode, you
basically
might watch them a
not
bunch of
having
times.
anything worth my
This
child
isn't a
killing.
particularly
me
great episode, so I
don't
So
really
the
know
anti-Succession.
it particularly well. I
Yeah.
can't even
There's
remember seeing it the first time. I quite liked it.
Oh, I've got something in my notes that
Yeah, it has that season 3 quality. It's a bit of flashlights.
Yeah,
It's got
no,
some
no,
got some guest
It's
stars.
about
Don't worry
Picard.
about it. It's got
asks-
your one
Picard
from Nightmare on Elm
Picard
Street
asks,
4 and 5.
the
Wait,
sovereign
which
of the
one was he?
Atmarians when they last
No,
tried
she,
to
the
reconcile with the
the
Gatherers
blonde,
who'd been out in space since
the
was-
the
Oh, what,
the sort of
18
hand, the
years.
sort of
And he says
Utah
18 years.
sort of handmaiden.
And all I
Right,
could think
okay.
is
She was
normally
Alice,
saying 18 years in
from
a surprised
the-
and
from the-
cheerful
the-
thing would be Riker's job.
from some of the later.
Did you know? I said also an actor I want to shout out.
I'm
Chargon,
gonna so
in this
18
episode, was
years.
played by an actor
18
called
years
Stephen Lee.
is
Sadly,
a
he's no longer
refrain
with us.
in
But I know I knew him from somewhere.
I'm
and
gonna
he's a
edit a
quintessential
version
that
that's
bloke
just
guy when I
Patrick
went onto his
Stewart.
IMDb, but they're worth 2 credits
And
that
release
stood
it.
out. That I wanted
And I'm
to
also
discuss.
going to edit in
He's
all
in
the
a movie
times
that
that
I
Jonathan
have
Frakes
not
has said
watched,
the N-word.
will not watch, will not watch at any point, and yet because
Which
of what
could
movie
be
it is,
zero.
I will at a
And
point
that's
in
why
the
you
future
cannot
very
sue
much
me over that
enjoy it.
statement.
Because he is in Carnosaur
everybody
3,
knows Jonathan Frakes
which
will
will
not
at some
use
point be
racial
watched on
slurs
Best and the
unless
Worst.
you pay
Yeah.
top tier on cameo.
But also,
So at the very
Right.
end, when they're at the negotiating
He played
table
Tom
in, this,
Arnold.
in Utah, oh,
there was a
Utah,
made-for-TV movie
yeah.
goes
called
to poison
Tom and
your
Roseanne,
man,
the behind-the-scenes
and
story,
Riker has to shoot
and
her.
he played Tom
yeah.
Arnold and Vaporizer, and it
yeah,
pulls
he's
out
a-
classic
Isaac
I would
Clan
say
Trelester move.
We
Yeah,
get
you
to
could have
see,
gotten Tom Arnold.
We get to see him turn up the volume,
Depending on when it
pump
was,
up
you
the
could have
volume,
gotten
pump up the
Roseanne.
volume, etc. on his phaser. Do you think he turned
he
it all
also
the way
played-
up to Starfleet Admiral? I something I found out that I thought was pretty
Well,
interesting.
okay, it's a quick
He also played
vaporization,
one
but you
of the
do see
rare
the
recurring
skeleton,
roles on Quantum Leap.
which is
Oh.
I
Yeah,
love the
because
fact that they've
there's
still not
so
decided
if you
that
don't know
that's
Quantum
not
Leap,
how that
Quantum Leap
works.
basically has two stars.
It's Roddenberry's
because
still
every
on
episode
set
is
going like,
different.
you got to see the
But
skeleton
in
when
the
you
last
vaporize.
season,
Otherwise,
they
what
done
was
a
the
sort of
point?
gimmick
But there's a
where
setting above that
there was
that
a
says
trilogy
vaporize
of
completely.
episodes
Why would we
where
use
it was
the
kind of
setting
one
vaporize
long
painfully?
story set over about
But you get to see a bit of skeleton.
and Sam would leap
I learned a great
into
fact about the
different people at
vaporization.
different
So if
points
you
in the
watch
story,
Yeah.
all
What's the
centered around
episode?
this one person.
She gets vaporized
So he
and disappears.
He played a sheriff.
Picard
And
is
I
like
think he was in all three
occupying
episodes.
the visual space that her
nice.
body was in.
Good
And this was a very
liked him. Good actor.
conscious decision.
So, yeah,
But the
so
problem
this
is
is what
that
this
back in the
episode's
day, when you film
There's
something
space
like that,
pirates
like
established
making
for like
that
the
now
first
would be
time
child's
in
play,
TNG.
right?
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
10-year-old could
And
do
they're
that
called the
effect on
Gatherers,
their
which is
phone
a very
that they stole from
mild
some
way of putting
vehicle.
what is.
But
They turn up at the beginning of this
bastards,
episode. They
that's why
turn
they
up at
want
like
to
a
poison it.
Federation base
But-
that's been robbed, and two of the people
they couldn't-
have
the
been
kids couldn't really
are
walk that way.
unconscious in a cupboard.
Sir
But
Patrick
they've
Stewart
not had
to
any
basically
contact
sit
with this
completely
thing
still
place for 2
for
days.
the whole thing, and that's
So
why
they've been,
Riker
they've
vaporizes
been,
a
they've
woman.
been stunned 7 times.
Not only
which means
vaporizes,
they stunned
he
them,
shoots
that's
her 3
unconscious,
times,
and then when they're on the floor,
and
they just
Picard
kept
has
stunning them.
seemingly no reaction to it whatsoever. Do you think every stun gets you like
he shoots her the
24
first
hours?
time on the setting of Careful Now.
And then he shoots them on
Could
down
you
with
do
this
that? Could
sort
you
of
like if you got like if you really wanted to? So
I
something
love when
really
he
annoyed
beams
you,
in,
could you like
and
stun
for some
him
reason, like the other guy's gonna like
365
hand him the
days,
brandy
and then
that
he's just in a
she's
coma for a
touched.
year.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
but the
shoots
problem is then
him,
you have
and
to
right,
feed them,
and
quite
Picard is
frankly,
like,
nothing annoys me more about
don't
people
worry,
than
my first officer
people
has
that
an
have to be
excellent
fed.
reason why he's just done that, and I love
Children,
that.
the
As
elderly,
far
and
as
the
he's
severely
saying
disabled.
it comes across completely
That's why
normal,
you
but you
hated
know there's
Live
a
Aid
question
so
mark,
much,
wasn't
wasn't
it?
But
Yeah,
Picard to
yeah.
Riker. I'm like, I
well,
assume you have a
fuck
good
it.
reason. You better fucking have.
Well, that's
Hands
exactly
across
how I read it.
America.
I don't
Use
know
those
if it
hands
was
to
just a
be-
fucking spoon in your face. I heard it more as Picard saying, "I'm sure my first officer has had."
So I really liked it.
this.
This episode.
Again, it's like-
And,
it's
like,
like
the place
when
been
you
fucked up,
say,
and then there's
I'm
blood
sure that
on
one of my
like
kids
a
has an excellent
like
reason
a
for
spike,
poisoning
and
the other one.
Beverly scans it, looks at it, and goes, "Oh, it's
And
blood.
the answer
It's not
better
human."
be because he was going
well
to get
done,
to you
Bev,
first, Dad.
for ruling out one of a billion possible
I'm like,
options.
good. Worf was there. Take him out.
It's like,
Now it's your
why is
job.
that useful information?
Yes.
I
I was gonna say,
there's
a significant
literally
amount of this
like
episode happens
in the
there
industrial
are
zone,
thousands
crystal
of
maze,
fucking
sentient species in Starfleet.
Do you
I
think
want to
they
say
could, like, saying
how
human,
impressed
like,
I was
like going
with
human
the old
first is kind of the
because
equivalent of,
Riker
like,
employs
misgendering
the
people
old
in the modern
vaporize the uranium and fake a beam out
Like,
trick,
Worf's like, no, I'm not-
which
I
if
know
you don't
that
know,
you're used to saying
is he
human
vaporizes
and
some
mankind,
nearby
but I'm
metal
not-
to
that's
make
not
it all
me.
smoky, and then he says
could've
force
just-
the beam
you
out, but he
could've
doesn't
just
actually
said
press his button, and then when
Why-
the guys turn up, Worf
Why
turns
did you have
up
to
and tells them they
identify what
smell.
it wasn't anyway, Beth? Why could you not just have said there's
So it's a
blood
lot
on
like
this?
Laser
And then
Quest.
Riker could have went,
no.
yeah, that's why we bring the
But-
Doctor.
Yeah, I like the Raiders,
or maybe
like,
this is the fucking. Maybe this is actually the second time that we've
interactions
been
with
down
Wesley.
there. Because why would you bring Beverly
when he
straight
meets him,
away?
he goes, "You don't like me."
Because it's not like
That's
you need
okay.
to
I've
wait
got
on
lots
an
of friends who
ambulance. The
don't like me. It's a
transporter takes
great
you there
line.
immediately.
I mean, I really
So
like the
surely
bit
rather
when he
than
first
sending
comes onto
down
the
one of the
bridge,
most valuable
and he looks
people
at Wesley
on
and he
your
goes, "A
flagship
child?"
starship.
Yeah.
Down to a
And he's the
situation that
first
you have
person
no
to ever
idea
bring
what it
up that
looks
there's a
like.
kid
Maybe
driving
send
that
down Worf
spaceship.
first. Worf and Data.
To be fair,
right?
Geordie doesn't know.
Why does
It's
every
fine,
mission not
because Wesley
start
Stuntman
with
was a
Worf and
36-year-old
Data
man.
beaming
Well,
down,
union rules. You
having
can't
a
have a
look
kid doing
around,
stunts.
beaming Riker, and then Riker goes, "There's blood on that spike."
Look, I know that there's,
Beam in
like,
Beverly,
there's
and
no
then Beverly
economy
comes down and
in
goes,
Starfleet,
"Ooh,
but,
blood,
like,
not
the
human."
Enterprise
Fine. Anyway,
is
I'm
worth
out of here.
the GDP
That's how
of,
every
like,
mission log
a
should
fucking
be.
African nation.
Every now and again,
at
just
least.
leave
Yeah,
Geordie.
like,
a good one.
A
And
fucking
maybe he'll come. Maybe he'll
Not that
figure.
Gorilla
That's what
City
I
that
do.
you were talking
Just
about
leave
earlier.
Geordie, and if he figures his way back, he
Fucking
can keep his
racist.
post.
Look, just to be clear,
I would say
the
again,
only reason that you need to be
Gorilla
Riker
City
down
is
immediately,
much like
and
Latveria
not like being
or
Worf
Wakanda. It's not
and
real,
Data down first.
but it does
If
exist
Riker
within
isn't
the realms
there,
of DC
I
comics.
fully believe that Data and Worf would just stand still, having been
it's
given
ruled by a
no
high
orders.
This
Just
is
like, this is, by the
what
way,
we do.
anybody out
Like
there
Worf-
who's a
Wolf's
fan
gonna
of
be like,
Zack
actually,
Snyder,
even
believes
though
the dark
we are all
and gritty
major characters
universe
on the
is
same
because
cast,
me and you
totally
don't
exactly
actually
what
spend a lot of
DC
time
needs.
alone.
Gorilla City
So
is a
I've
real
got no
city
rapport.
where
Yeah,
hyper-intelligent
and then
gorillas live,
Worf's
and they're
like,
ruled by Grodd,
you know that
who
you're
is
my
also
boss?
psychic.
And
So
Data's
yeah,
like, "Ah,
that's
what
no.
that, man?"
Batman is dark and
and
gritty.
then Wolf's like,
DC,
but still, you
is
need to open
fucking
that door,
silly,
'cause
like all
you
comics
have-
are, right? And you need
Well,
to get
like,
over yourself.
I do quite like
and
that
accept
Wolf
that
does seem
Superman,
slightly annoyed
because
every
it's
time he has to
bright
get
blue,
Data to open a door.
shouldn't
It's like
be directed
the equivalent
by a
of
man
like
who
he's the
doesn't
equivalent strength of like
understand
a
the
forklift.
fundamental concept of why
It's
someone
not.
is Superman.
A personal slight,
Yeah.
Wolf. You are very strong
What do you think
compared to
24th
everybody
century
else.
lad culture is
Just
like?
not compared to a piece of machinery.
Do you think?
So,
do
obviously,
you think the fucking the replicator has just a
Like
Stella?
the whole purpose of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Gene's vision.
Do you
TM.
think Stella is one of the things that
Copyright,
you
right?
have to specify
Was that
exactly
by this point in the
like,
future,
what
no one will
degree
have any
you want it at?
interpersonal
Like
conflict.
he asked for water
So for
at
the
5
first,
degrees
we've
in
talked
this,
about this at great
but
length,
like
but
John
in the
Luke
first
can
couple
just
of
ask for
seasons
tea
of
at Earl Grey
TNG,
hot.
no one had
So
any issues
is
with
Stella
each
one
other
of those things
because
where you have
Gene
to
Roddenberry thought
specify
that that's
like
just how a utopian future
like do
would
you
be.
say like
But we know
cold
that's
or
not
you
how
have to
it
give
would
like
be.
a degree? If
So
you just say cold, does it
who
come out
do
like just
you
like a
think
can out of like a fridge at the
talks
supermarket?
shit
And he's like, no, I want it
about
freshly
other
poured.
crew
No, the
members?
only way it works is if you
Like-
say Stella. No, Bravo.
Just at 10 forward.
I mean,
Who do you think
I, mean,
Riker
I
gives
quite
it
like a
out?
Stella. I like.
I imagine that like
I drink cans
I
of Stella
imagine that
quite a lot
the
on
reason
the train
O'Brien
when I'm
seems
travelling
fairly
between Glasgow
cocksure
and
is
London.
because
Because I like
Riker
to sit in first
is
class and
he's
drink
venting
Stella.
to him.
It
O'Brien is like,
proves that
you
it
fire
just-
me,
people won't
and I'm
mention
gonna hand over those
look like
recordings of you pissed going after Wolf.
It's the product
Yeah.
that has.
I reckon at least
biggest
I reckon
gap between
everyone
what like wants to
I reckon
be
everybody
and what
has,
it is
at some point
because like all of the
started
Stella
ranting about
adverts are
Data.
like, "Whoa,"
and then somebody
Stella,
else has been like, oh,
reassuringly
come on.
expensive.
Yeah.
And then you
Classy
go,
drink
oh,
for Kelly.
classy people.
He's not that bad.
Whereas
And then,
Stella
then,
in the
like
real
2 days
world,
later, that other
nickname
person
is
writing
Waffly.
about it.
Do you think behind his back they call
I
him the
would do you
forklift?
one better. I think the only thing really higher than Stella on that list is Buckfast.
Fucking Johnny Forklift
Because
over here.
Buckfast is a
I think Troy
tonic
and Bev
fortified wine
never
literally
slag
made by
each
mums.
other off to anybody
And
else
here in
because they're the
Glasgow,
only 2 women in space.
We call it commotion lotion. Yeah, but I bet I don't want to play any stereotypes, especially not on International Women's Day. But I bet it has so much caffeine in it that it makes young people really angry.
riot.
And the Scottish
Yeah,
government
I
have
imagine
threatened to ban it.
because
And
I
good.
imagine that,
Good for
on
them.
several occasions.
Yeah,
and the people
I
of
imagine
Glasgow have
they-
said, no,
yeah, they tell each
this is
other
how
everything.
we keep the population.
And it's like, she's in there, oh, you're not going to believe what O'Brien was saying to me in therapy today. And she goes, oh, well, he would be upset given what's happening with his
is that
You know, basically the way that like combating the rising house prices in Glasgow. It's like, if we just let enough young people
Right.
die of alcoholism,
But I was going to say, right,
hopefully
I've got a question.
that we just stop the small
Is
boats.
it about those little square flashlights and how
People
they're
used to shit on
definitely
Glasgow, right,
more
because of
useless
something
than
called the
today's
Glasgow effect,
flashlights?
which meant that people
Yeah, because of
died
how they
really
hold
young.
them. That's
Yeah.
obvious. But no,
more so
I
than
was
anywhere
gonna-
else. And
I was
there's
gonna
like a
ask this 'cause
psychological
I don't know
thing
if
as
I
well as like a
misheard this.
dietary
But
and a
is the
society
Gatherer
thing.
encampment in
that was
the
great.
Harambe clusters?
As
Met a
in,
lot of fucking.
as
Met a
in
lot
the
of people
gorilla,
that hit it to 65.
who
Do you know
was
how
yet
good
to be a
politics
famous
would
gorilla
be if
at that
everybody
point.
over
Like, he was,
65
I don't know how long gorillas live. I don't know if he was
I mean,
alive
look,
in
all I'm going to say
1985. How long
is
do gorillas
when
live for?
coronavirus
I'm going to
started,
Google it.
and they were saying
17.
mainly
So
targeting
they can
people
live for
over
40
50.
years,
I
but
was like,
Harambe
oh no,
was
wouldn't it
17.
be terrible if
So
everybody
it's not a
over 50
direct,
died, would all
deliberate.
get a house
thing.
and have to
Do you
rejoin
do you
the
think,
EU.
Disaster. And all that's happening is that
and I believe an ancient Persian
people
king
are
or
living
Iranian
long.
king. Who the gorilla was
maybe
named
one
after.
day, hopefully, we'll live long
was-
enough for
was he the
someone to
king of
program Stella
Gorilla
into the
City?
replicators.
I'm assuming that it was a
frankly,
gorilla.
that's racist, man.
No, what they should do, what they really should do is subsidise buck fast
I was,
for the elderly.
that wasn't racism. That was a reference to the Flash.
Give them a bit of a
Gorilla
swing in their
City.
step.
Jesus.
Screw it.
For some reason,
the idea of a
like,
pension,
I like when
think
like
once you hit
in
60,
comic
they
books,
should be
like,
like, right,
you
somebody's
near the end,
arch villain isn't the thing that makes
some
sense.
skag.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man's arch foe.
You've
is the
always
Green
wondered
Goblin
about it. It's
because
not like you're letting
goblins
anybody
are the
down
natural
now.
enemy of
You've
Spider-Man.
already done
Right?
everything you're going to do.
Right?
Maybe
And
you write it out to
I
your
quite
90,
like
maybe
that one of
by
the
the
Flash's
weekend.
let's see what happens.
I think the
Arch foes
replicator
is
makes
Gorilla
good
Grodd,
talk.
who is a hyper-intelligent psychic gorilla.
I reckon
No,
that's
got nothing to do with being
chemical
fast.
level.
I think
But
I think the thing
no
is though,
difference
it
whatsoever
plays on a
between the
very
bag of
like
weed
a very
you can get from
prominent
a
fear
replicator
or a very primal
and
fear,
the bag of
which is
weed
that as
that's
soon
like
as gorillas are
hydroponically
grown smarter than us,
in
we're
Amsterdam.
gone.
But
Like, we are out.
yeah,
Like,
you
they're-
would never get
Yeah, we are
a
the
single stoner
what-
to admit
homo.
that.
We'll be the homo.
No, 100%.
What they'll do is
I
they'll
do
kill us all off and then
believe
they'll change
that
homo
there are
sapien
different
to something
highs
that
that
sounds a
come
lot
from the
more
different
sexual
strains.
than it did before.
I'm
fully on board with
Clitoris.
that. That's like it is kind of like how
That's what we've been known as
you
forevermore.
have different types of drunk.
And they'll be like, why are they called that? And they'll be like,
yeah.
well, nobody can
So
find
long
it
as you're
anymore.
not overdoing it, as long as you're doing it,
Then the
in
Gorilla
moderation,
Science
you
Council
100%
will
have different types
will
of drunk.
laugh.
You definitely have different.
But none
types
of them will
high.
be wearing
What I
trousers.
mean
Beat their
is,
chests, I imagine.
Do you have to specify the container that the cocaine comes in?
Right. Do we actually want to talk
Like,
about what this episode?
Do you have to ask, can I have a bowl
we
of
could do.
cocaine?
I mean, we could talk about how gorillas look like
A
D&D
goblet?
players that just put all their stats into arms rather than
here's the
legs.
thing: why wouldn't you just have a replicator built into the table? Look, you can
It
say
just
what you
puts
want,
the line
but
up perfectly
when
for
our
you.
gorilla overlords come in and they find this podcast, I just want.
Would you
I
miss
want
the
tactileness of
That's
like
what I'm saying.
chopping? I don't want to be.
If my
kill
mum's
Mark.
listening to this, I don't know what you're
Put him in
talking
the
about.
slave
I
flying
don't-
pits. I'll just do
probably
some
won't.
like clerical work.
If,
I don't want to
if
live in
anyone
that world,
listens
man.
to
I've
this,
seen Planet of
I
the
don't
Apes.
actually do cocaine.
yeah,
It's a drug that I've done
does
it a few
Riker have a
times and it
scratch
doesn't
card
really have an
poster
effect
of
on me
all the
'cause
humanoid
all it makes
species in the
is to
galaxy?
Stay up all night. Because cocaine makes you loud and makes you talk too
Right.
much. And
I would like
don't-
to bring up
that's me.
the speed with which, like,
Riker
there's
meets
no
a woman,
noticeable
immediately
difference.
fancies her.
It says she
Do you
cooks
think,
for him.
do you
When she
like,
does
do you
cook for
think
him,
it would
he's sitting with
replicate
Deanna
the same
Troy,
debit card
and she's
every
like,
time?
"Oh, I don't want to intrude." And Deanna Troy's
Do you
like,
think
"Oh
you would
no,
need
no,
to
no!
ask for a specific year
I
of
fought somebody
£10
last week. It's Will's turn."
plastic so it doesn't absorb it as much.
Yeah, that's how it went. Yeah.
No, you want
So,
pre-plastic. Those ones can cut up your nose. I've seen enough nosebleeds.
But
in my time. I want to stress the immediacy
I reckon that's
with
'cause
which
do you reckon
Riker
you have like
decided
a
he was
little
going to fuck
like
this woman.
when you join Starfleet, do you get
And
a
then she
little,
gets like
ID
sent to his
card?
quarters by the sovereign.
I think your
and it's kind of like she's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm.
Oh, you mean for
I've
cutting
been
it?
sent
Yeah.
here to
Yeah.
pleasure you."
That's,
And Riker's like,
'Cause, like,
this
yeah,
seems
I mate, you're right.
really
But you come back to your ID
non-consensual,
card
so
and
I'm
mate,
gonna
yeah,
stop.
that's bollocks, isn't it?
I don't like it. I believe his words were, I don't like
Cutting it with a
when there's no
razor blade is
challenge in
like
it.
better, right?
Just
Yeah.
staring her
But we don't
straight
do
in
that
the
because
eye.
we don't live in movies.
That
where
isn't
everyone
what he
has
said.
fucking razor
I don't want
blades just
Jonathan
cutting
Frakes to
about.
come at me.
I don't know.
She said
the people
that
in
she
Starfleet-
doesn't.
I
like,
don't know how people
have
in
thick,
Starfleet
fast
seem to
shave.
feel pleasure. Like,
And Riker was
is
like,
there?
"Well, I'm not going to fuck you then because
do they
I
have
don't
like a
need
nanite
any
thing where you
more
can just
women
set how
saying
long
that
your
they
hair
do
is?
come."
And that's why nobody ever changes their hairstyle in any of the Star Treks. He's very much known as Wham Bam, thank you, Riker.
No,
Do you think he says set
has
phasers to
asked
stun
someone
after
to
he
do that
achieves an
sexy, shaving him with a straight razor?
What
Why is that? Why is that the phrase? Why is it achieve an
Yeah.
erection?
Whoever does that is in for a letdown because
Because I'll tell you
I'm
what,
not
man.
saying
If I
Jonathan Frakes
if I
without beard is
got
not a
like
sexy
degrees
man, but what I'm going to say is he's
with the ease
significantly
that I
less sexy
still
man
occasionally
than
get
with the
erections
beard.
at the age of 34, I'd be the
so,
smartest
yeah,
man
I
alive.
wouldn't.
There's no
I wouldn't.
achievement in it
that'd be
whatsoever.
A letdown.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
If something can be done by accident,
What's that?
and then it shouldn't count as an achievement.
achievement.
This guy,
and that's what I say
what was
to
his
all
name?
pregnant women.
Chukta?
No, Chargon.
He's a
nobody's
pretty
ever
good
put up a
negotiator.
set of shelves by mistake.
he is.
Right?
Yeah.
I like that they start with saying, "Oh, we'll never negotiate."
You can just
we'll
wake
never
up
agree," and
at-
then
you
by the end
can't
of it,
wake
they're
up in the
arguing,
morning with a
and they're
shelf.
disagreeing on like terms. But they've agreed there's something worth negotiating.
not know you're having
It's like some
shelves
pretty good
until
diplomacy.
one day
from-
you go to the toilet and suddenly shelves pop out.
Your man John Luke. He's. I think
Yeah, anyway,
John Luke in
the
this episode
sovereign
does do that
of,
thing, which is like
this
diplomacy
planet,
can
the
still be
Akamarians,
badass. When he's like, no, I'm going to beam
Space
into
Patricia
the place that's
Routledge,
really
right?
dangerous because I have to mediate.
she
this
says the
discussion.
Starfleet,
and they might kill me. And even when they get there, he's like,
I
I
liked that.
Yeah,
I
I
like
like
that, but she's an old woman. And then Riker
It's the
might be
same
in
way
and
that
my mum refuses to
definitely
learn
shoot
the
someone.
name of any games console.
Yeah, which he does.
Is it
do,
just
to
the
be fair.
Nintendo?
Yeah.
She
No,
shoots
no,
people.
no, it's not that. No, she likes
yeah.
to play this on hard mode.
Fucking
It will be
vaporizes.
like
I
if
like
if I told her
when
about something
the,
that like, I said, oh, I've got a
Sovereign
PS5.
first talks
Next
to
week she'll be like,
the,
how's your
the
P5
gatherers.
going?
She stands up and she has a drink of water.
Like
that,
she'll
like,
intentionally set out
taste
to get it just
uterus
slightly
tasted
wrong.
it to make sure it's not poisonous. And they go,
And
you're
I
trying to poison
respect
us.
that.
And then they immediately
I hope it's a bit.
water
I hope on her deathbed.
down one of their mates' throats.
She tells me that it was a bit the whole time.
Do you reckon?
Yeah,
That's
like,
the one they always
I've
pick
played
on.
every console since
I've got his names down as
'Cause,
Temeric,
like,
and he's like,
there's
he's
lots
laughing
of reasons
at the
that
end
I'm
of
looking
it.
forward
But
to my
I just
deathbed.
feel like that laugh was hiding some pain. It was like,
But one
don't
of the
let
main
know
ones is to
how much
finally
it affects
unveil all
you.
the
I feel like the
long-term
laugh
stuff
is
he's been
because he's been poisoned enough times that he's
gonna
effectively
be a lot of
built up
people
a bit of an
dying.
immunity towards it anyway. So eventually
Speaking
they're
of
going to roll
long-term
the
things.
dice on that one, and he's
Right.
going to be the survivor, and
This
they're all
you,
going to be dead.
woman in this episode.
And that's when he gets
to
to
give
be
it
the
away,
gatherer sovereign.
they're a planet that
he does.
had lots of like.
And also, as we
clan
know in
infighting,
Gatherer
they don't do that
society,
anymore.
if you find somebody
But she's
corpse,
actually the
and
last
nobody
remaining
from their
person
clan
of
is
one of the
around,
clans,
you can
and she
claim all of
exists
their
as a biological
possessions,
weapon,
which
to
seems
kill
like a fine system that
members
is in no way
of the
open
other
to be
clan.
exploited.
Right, that's but she's like the chef to the sovereign, which is the equivalent of being like the queen's
what else
personal
have
chef.
I got? Yeah, I don't know. There's not.
And
I
Riker
feel
says to
I'm
her, "Have you got any specialities?" And she's like, "No."
She's
Like
I've
she's
got-
not
she's
very
got
good
a
at being a chef.
genetically
How do you get that
First of
job?
all, she's got what's
Was
called a
is the
microvirus,
system
which
on their
is,
planet is
small,
like,
unlike
well,
a
there's
normal
better
virus.
chefs,
Yeah.
but she applied first, so we had to give her the job. That's just how it
but
goes.
I've
in our
literally got written
society.
down. It goes,
It's an engineered virus that only attacks people with certain genetics.
Yeah, I don't know, because if I
Like
was in
in that
charge,
one
and
Hitman
again,
level.
God willing, one day I will be.
Which I think is.
I
water?
imagine, and like fully in charge, like Henry VIII in charge. Like
Well,
ready
in
to
Spain,
get
where you
big
can
old fat
kill him
boy.
with the cannon as he escapes in the plane.
I'd say my chef
He's got a
just
lab
has
underneath the
to.
castle.
It'll probably just rotate
Yeah.
between three
It's
dishes,
based on a
and
real
one of them will be
place.
just calling up Domino's.
Yeah, it's basically a really gorgeous place that you've seen.
Also,
you've seen
I
it.
do
It's
wanna
a
say about
standard
this, the
Google
official
background.
chef of this.
Yeah.
It's like they're like, oh, we've put aside. All the
I
bloody
like to
differences in
snipe
the
'em
past.
from the,
We're a much
chop
more
star.
peaceful nation. This is my
Oh, I
chef.
like that one.
Who must
Especially
eat
if you
every
make- if
dish
you make him
before
look-
I consume it to make sure it isn't poison.
If you make him
Well, it
look
doesn't
into the
sound like
telescope, you can
achieved
shoot the end
peace,
of the telescope.
does it? If
Yeah,
you're
and-
constantly
and the bullet.
in fear of
Pardon,
being
I read
poisoned
that the
to
bullet
death.
doesn't
To
go
be
down the
fair, man,
telescope, but
like,
the
I'll be-
telescope
as
just
soon as it-
shifts
like,
so
'cause
far that
I-
it just jabs into
I
his brain.
don't have kids, as far as
I'm
I'm
not.
aware.
But I'm
I
fairly
quite
sure
like
that as
this.
soon as I
Priest
do
to
have
kill
kids,
on that
and like,
level as well.
I'm very blasé about my own
It's-
safety,
It's
right?
I'd say it's
Because
the
again,
most
the quicker
populous
I get
level
to death,
where
the quicker
I
that
am
it all gets
the
revealed.
most
right?
comfortable
But-
being able to kill every single person.
I'm sure that when I have kids, a switch
Like-
is going to flip
like,
where I'm like,
I don't think you could
right,
get
we
away
need-
with
I need
killing
to
every
protect
single
this
person
thing,
in
right?
Paris.
I'm going to be doing
Yeah,
that at
def- you-
nursery.
yep,
I'm going to
you
be going to
100%
nursery, and
can.
if they're like, right, we're going to be because the thing
I'll
about
be
the thing
like, I'll
about
be having
Paris
a
is
bite
that a
of
lot
it
of
first.
the thing.
Thank you
the
very much.
Hitman
To make sure that you haven't
programming.
poisoned them.
The AI.
Oh, I
obviously
thought you were
they
going to
can
say that
only
when you were
have
going to
a
have
certain
kids, you were
amount of
going to make
people
sure
who actually
that
do things.
they taste all
They
your
have to
food
have
before
really
you
large
have it.
crowds. So a lot of the people in
That's a better idea.
in Paris are essentially just set
Once you've
dressing.
had one kid, you know everything well.
So
right?
you can
always
just walk
bang
into
out
the big
another.
ballroom and you can walk into
I
the
am.
room with the
I'm
catwalk and just
going
machine
to
gun everybody.
prevent patricide.
And
by
as long as you've
basically
taken out
not
all of
having
the guards,
anything worth
no one
my
does
child
anything.
killing
They all
me
just
over.
stand there.
So the
Like an American
anti-succession.
primary school.
Yeah.
There's a.
I don't know why I
Oh,
felt
I've
the
got
need to
something
get
in my
that
notes
in.
about this episode that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah,
They,
but the
haven't
flashlights.
said anything
Yeah, that-
particularly like that.
It's not about the flashlights. It's about
Everyone's going to be
Picard.
concentrating on you talking about
Picard,
Gala City or whatever.
Picard can't
those,
ask.
to be fair, it's not as if anything
The sovereign of the
actually ever
Atmarians, when they
happened
last tried to
at those
reconcile
primary
with the
schools.
Gatherers,
It's just,
who've been out in space since the thing was.
The paid actors.
She says 18 years, and he says 18 years, and all I could think is
No,
normally
yeah, if you take
saying
enough time,
18
you can
years
100%
in
kill
a
everyone in
surprised and cheerful
And
thing would be
that's
Riker's
I
job.
hope that's the
out of context bit that you use as the trailer for this episode.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
gonna,
okay,
so
right,
18 years,
I think we should
18
talk
years
about one thing.
is a
Because
refrain.
it does actually have quite a decent Star Trek
Kanye West
question.
Gold Digger.
Ooh,
I'm
which
going to
is,
edit a version
do
in that's
you
just Patrick Stewart saying that.
Live in a beautiful
And release
society
it.
where all your
And then I'm
needs are
also
met,
going to edit
but
in
you
all the
kind of
times
have to
that
do what you're
Jonathan
told.
Frakes has said the
Or
N-word.
would you engage in like the freedom of space piracy?
Which
I
could
mean,
be
this is kind
zero.
of this is the
And that's why you cannot sue me over that. This is the question behind fucking
Everybody knows
Demolition
Jonathan
Man, isn't it?
Frakes will not use
Yeah.
racial slurs
and
unless you
Dennis
play for the
Leary,
top tier on Cameo.
it's like
so
I just
at the
wanna
very
live in a
end,
world
when
where
they're
I
at the
can
negotiating
smoke
table,
cigars and
this
swear
in
and eat
Utah,
and eat fast
and
food and
still-
it's like
sorry, every restaurant is
yeah.
Taco Bell,
Goes-
so you've
goes to
already got that
poison
one covered.
your man.
Don't worry about it. And
I just want to live in a world where I can completely steal Bill Hicks'
still-
ads.
yeah,
and
he
was
did-
it
I said
successful on this side of the
we
Atlantic.
get to see-
People went, no, I've done it.
we get to see him turning up, turn
Years
up the
ago, I saw an
volume,
article
pump up
about
the volume,
like,
pump up the volume,
people you
etc.
hate
on his
more than you
phaser.
should. And they were talking
do you
about
think he
Carlos
turned it all the way
Mencia.
up to
It was
Starfleet?
like, if you hate Carlos Mencia because he stole jokes,
Well,
should you
okay,
hate,
it's a quick
Dennis
vaporization, but you do
for
see
stealing
the
his
skeleton
line from
Yeah.
Bill Hicks. And the comment
which
section of
is,
the article
I
was all
love the
English
fact that
people
they've
going,
still not
we
decided
do
that
hate
that's
Dennis.
not how that
Very
works.
stealing his act.
So
Roddenberry's still on set
That's
going,
why
like,
Dennis
"You've got to see the
O'Leary's
skeleton
never
when you
been
vaporise.
massively big
Otherwise,
over here.
what was the point? But there's a setting above that
but-
that says
yeah, no, I'd
vaporise
rather-
completely.
100%
Why
I'd
would
rather
we
live
use
in that
the
society,
setting
because
vaporise painfully,
I
but you get to see a bit of
I'm not a
skeleton?
thrill seeker. I learned a great fact
in a
about
world where
vaporization. So
holodecks
if you
exist,
watch
any
the-
excitement I really need, I
Watch
can
the
just
episode.
program up on a holiday.
She
Well,
gets
I
vaporised
mean,
and
I've said it.
disappears.
I'll say it before. I'll say it again.
Picard
I would love to just
is
live
like
in like a
occupying
human zoo that an
the
alien
visual space that
takes
her
me to and just
body was in.
provides everything that I need.
This was a very
Like, if there's no
conscious decision.
Don't get me wrong, I'll
But
miss
the problem is
Laura
that
and
back in the
or-
day, when you filmed something like that, like making that now would be child's play.
if there's no
Any
expectations on
10-year-old
me
could do that
whatsoever,
effect
I'll
on
have a great
on their phone.
every
that
day they
stole
just push in
from
a tray of
some
just like a
8-year-old.
Burger King, and I'm like,
But
Yeah, because like my
Kids are bastards,
like,
that's why
my
they want to
family
But
like history. One of my
they couldn't- like, it couldn't really work that way.
It's like fucking 600 years.
Sir
of being
Patrick Stewart had
peasants.
to basically sit completely
and all I do is
still
look at that sort of
for the
period
whole-
and
for
go,
the whole thing, and that's
like,
why
not one
Riker
of you
vaporizes
thought,
a woman.
I could just join
Not only
the Royal
vaporizes,
Navy,
he shoots
and
her
the minute
3
we get
times,
to the Caribbean,
and
fuck off.
Picard has seemingly no
right,
reaction
and
to
get
it
work on a
whatsoever.
pirate boat,
Yeah,
which
he
is what I
shoots
would
the
have
first
done
time on the
like,
setting of
as somebody
Careful
living,
Now.
if I living in London, as I did,
And then
if
she-
I
then he
was like
shoots someone
alive in the
down with that sort of
1600s when the golden age of piracy was happening,
I love
think
when he
that would
beams in,
seem
and
to
for
be
some
a better
reason, like the
option
other guy's going to
than,
like hand him
you
the
know,
brandy that
living in
she's
17th
touched.
century
Yeah.
London. So
and
when
he
it comes
shoots
to like
him,
this
and,
sort
right,
of,
and
that's
and
where
Picard
it
is
gets
like,
trickier, because with this, it
don't
is
worry,
like,
my
no,
first
no,
officer has an excellent reason
you
why
live in
he's
the
just done that.
in like the
And I love
Starfleet
that. As
world.
far as he's saying
So
it,
all your
it
needs are
comes
met
across
on the
completely
same
normal, but
level.
you know there's a question
Is that
mark in
more
that
fun
for
than
Picard
being
to
a space
Riker.
pirate?
I'm like,
And
I
the
assume
answer
you
is-
have a good reason.
What sort
But
of space
you
pirate?
better fucking have.
Well, that's exactly how I
if
read
it's
it.
these
I don't know
guys-
if it was
Yeah,
just
no,
me,
I'll give you that. It's
I
not
read-
that good.
I heard it more
But
as
if it's
Picard
like
saying,
fucking
I'm
Yondo,
sure my first
for-
officer. Yeah,
oh,
excellent
Star
reason
Lord.
for doing this.
Yeah, that's
Again, it's like when you say, I'm sure that one of my kids has an excellent reason for poisoning.
yeah,
another.
I'll just
stay in my utopia, thanks.
and the answer better be because he was going to get to you first, Dad.
like, yeah. Because the thing is,
like,
I
good.
suppose actually when you come down to
Well
it, I do say that,
it
but I
back.
could actually
Now
just
it's
go and
your
be a
job.
pirate now. I was going to say,
I don't.
a significant amount of this episode
do, yeah,
happens
you could
in
move
the
to
industrial
Somalia,
zone
yeah.
from Crystal
But,
Maze.
I'm not going to do it. If I was in the future,
I
would
want to
just
say
want to
how
have
impressed I was with
fucking
the old
gaff,
because Riker
place to
employs
stay,
the old vaporize the
a housemate
uranium
who'd
and
scope
fake
fucks
a
off
beam out trick,
for quite a long time.
which if you don't
and
know,
then when
is he
Commander Riker
vaporizes
does
some
come
nearby
back,
metal
he's my housemate.
to make it all
And
smoky.
the first thing he
and
does
then
is
he
he
says
walks
force
into
a
the
beam
living
out, but he
room,
doesn't
he
actually
goes up
press
to
his
his
button.
scratch card on the wall,
And then when the guys turn up, Worf
silently
turns up and tells them they
scratches
smell.
another species off. And he turns around and just
So it's a
stares
lot
at me.
like Laser Quest in that way. But yeah, I like the Raiders, like the Gatherer rules like interactions with
I've
Wesley.
masturbated to a lot of things.
When he meets
But
him, he goes,
never-
"You don't
never-
like me."
never to a
That's
friend.
okay. I've got lots of friends who don't like me. It's a great line.
I mean,
Don't
I
wanna
really
break
like
that
that when he
bond.
first comes onto the bridge. And he looks at Wesley and he goes, "A child."
To leave it for this week.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And he's the first person to ever bring up that there's a kid driving that.
Show.
Yes, thank you. Bye. To be fair, Geordie doesn't know. It's because Wesley's stunt double was a 36-year-old man.
Well, union rules. You can't have a kid doing stunts. Look, I know that there's no economy in Starfleet, but like the Enterprise is worth the GDP of like a fucking African nation at least.
Yeah, a good one.
A fucking
not that gorilla city that you were talking about earlier, Ed. You fucking racist.
Look, just to be clear, I want to establish this again. Gorilla City is much like Latveria or Wakanda. It's not real, but it does exist within the realms of DC Comics. And it's ruled by a this doesn't come. This is, by the way, anybody out there who's a fan of Zack Snyder and believes that the dark and gritty universe is exactly what DC needs. Gorilla City is a real city where hyper intelligent gorillas live, and they're ruled by Grodd, who is also psychic. So yeah, Batman is dark and gritty. DC is fucking silly, like all comics are, right? And you need to get over yourselves and accept that Superman, who dresses in bright blue, shouldn't be directed by a man who doesn't understand the fundamental concept of why someone would be a Superman.
Yeah. What do you think 24th century lad culture is like? Do you think the replicator has just a Stella button?
Do you think Stella is one of the things that you have to specify exactly like what degree you want it at? 'Cause, like he asked for water at 5 degrees in this.
Yeah.
But like John Luke can just ask for tea at Earl Grey hot. So is Stella one of those things where you have to specify like do you say like cold, or do you have to give like a degree? If you just say cold, does it come out like just like a can out of like a fridge at the supermarket? And he's like, no, I want it freshly poured.
No, the only way it works is if you say Stella. No, Prava. I quite like a Stella. I drink cans of Stella quite a lot on the train when I'm travelling between Glasgow and London, because I like to sit in first class and drink Stella, because it proves that it just people won't mess with you if you look like scum.
For me, it's the product that has the biggest gap between what it wants to be and what it is, because like all of the Stella adverts are like, whoa, Stella, it's reassuringly expensive, a classy drink for classy people, whereas Stella in the real world nickname is wife beater.
I would do you one better. I think the only thing really higher than Stella on that list is Buckfast, because Buckfast is a tonic fortified wine literally made by monks. And here in Glasgow, we call it commotion lotion or wreck the house juice. It has so much caffeine in it that it makes young people really angry. And the Scottish government have threatened to ban it on several occasions, and the people of Glasgow have said, no, this is how we keep the population down.
Is that basically the way that they're like combating the rising house prices in Glasgow? It's just like, if we just let enough young people die of alcoholism, then hopefully that, and we just stop the small boats, man. That's
People used to shit on Glasgow, right, because of something called the Glasgow effect, which meant that people died really young, more so than anywhere else. And it's like a psychological thing as well as like a dietary and a society thing. But that was great. meant a lot of people didn't hit it to 65. Do you know how good politics would be if everybody over 65 was dead?
I mean, look, all I'm going to say is when coronavirus started, and they were saying that, it mainly is targeting the people over 50, I was like, oh no, wouldn't it be terrible if everybody over 50 died? We'd all get a house and have to rejoin the EU.
Oh no. Disaster. And all that's happening is that, people are living longer. And maybe one day, hopefully, we'll live long enough for someone to program Stella into the replicators, but... Quite frankly, I don't see it happening. No, what they should do, what they really should do is subsidise Buckfast for the elderly. Give them a bit of a spring in their step.
No, screw it. Screw the idea of a pension. I think once you hit 60, they should be like, right, you're near the end. Have some skag. You've always wondered about it. It's not like you're letting anybody down now.
Yeah.
You've already done everything of use you're going to do. Maybe you ride it out till you're 90. Maybe you're dead by the weekend. Let's see what happens.
Do you think the replicator makes good drugs?
I reckon that, like, on a chemical level, there is no difference whatsoever between the bag of weed you can get from the replicator and the bag of weed that's like hydroponically grown in Amsterdam. But you would never get a single stoner to admit that.
No, 100%. I do believe that there are different highs that come from the different strains. I'm fully on board with that. That's like that. It is kind of like how you have different types of drunk. If so long as you're not overdoing it, as long as you're doing it in moderation, you 100% have different types of drunk. You definitely have different types of high. What I mean is, do you have to specify the container that the cocaine comes in? Like, do you have to ask, can I have a bowl of cocaine? A goblet?
Why? Here's the thing. Why wouldn't you just have a replicator built into the table? It just puts the line up perfectly for you. Would you miss the tactileness of, like, chopping?
If my mum's listening to this, I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I probably would.
To be fair, if anyone is listening to this, I don't actually do cocaine. It's a drug that I've done it a few times, and it doesn't really have an effect on me because all it makes is to stay up all night. But it because cocaine makes you loud and makes you talk too much, and it's like that's me. That's just there's no noticeable difference.
Do you think do you think it would replicate the same debit card every time? Do you think you would need to ask for a specific year of £10 note? Post plastic, so it doesn't absorb it as much.
No, you want pre-plastic. Those ones can cut up your nose. I've seen enough nosebleeds in my time. I reckon that's because. Do you reckon you have like a little, like, when you join Starfleet, do you get a little like ID card?
I think your comm badge is your ID card. Oh, you mean for cutting it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's because, like, yeah, I mate, you're right. But your comm badge is your ID card, and mate, yeah, that's bollocks, isn't it?
I mean, cutting it with a razor blade is like better, right? But we don't do that because we don't live in movies where everyone has fucking razor blades just cutting a bit.
I don't know the people of Starfleet. I don't know how people in Starfleet shave. Like, is there do they have like a nanite thing where you can just set how long your hair is, and that's why nobody ever changes their hairstyle in any of the Star Treks?
I don't know, man. I mean, no, but you must be able to shave because surely Riker has asked someone to do that sexy shaving him with a straight razor.
What, remove the beard?
Yeah.
Whoever does that is in for a letdown, because I'm not saying Jonathan Frakes without a beard is not a sexy man, but what I'm going to say is he's a significantly less sexy man than with the beard. So yeah, I wouldn't. Oh, that'd be a letdown.
Yeah. What's that? This guy, what was his name? Chukta?
Chargon.
He's a pretty good negotiator.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I like that they start with saying, oh, we'll never negotiate, we'll never agree, and then by the end of it they're arguing and they're disagreeing on like terms, but they've agreed there's something worth negotiating.
Yeah.
Which is like some pretty good diplomacy from your man John Luke. I think John Luke in this episode does do that thing which is like, diplomacy can still be badass, when he's like, no, I'm going to beam into the place that's really dangerous because I have to mediate this discussion and they might kill me. And even when they get there, he's like, oh, I might take you hostage.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
And then Riker might beam him and definitely shoot someone.
Yeah. which he does do, to be fair.
Yeah.
He shoots 2 people.
Yeah. Fucking vaporizes.
I like that when the Sovereign first talks to like the gatherers. She turns up and she has a drink of water that her taster, Yuta has tasted it to make sure it's not poisonous. And they go, "Oh, how do we know you're not trying to poison us?" And then they immediately pour water down one of their mates' throats to be like, do you reckon that's the one they always pick on? Like, I've got his names down as Temeric, and he's laughing at the end of it, but I just feel like that laugh was hiding some pain. It was like, don't let him know how much it affects you.
I feel like the laugh is because he's been poisoned enough times that he's effectively built up a bit of an immunity towards it anyway. So eventually they're going to roll the dice on that one, and he's going to be the survivor, and they're all going to be dead. And that's when he gets to be the Gatherer Sovereign.
Yeah, he does. And also, as we know in Gatherer society, if you find somebody's corpse and nobody from their clan is around, you can claim all of their possessions, which seems like a fine system that is in no way open to be exploited.
What else have I got? I don't know. There's not. I felt I want. I felt there'd be more to talk about.
I've got that she's got a genetically engineered. First of all, she's got what's called a microvirus, which is small, unlike a normal virus.
Yeah.
But I've literally got written down. It goes, it's an engineered virus that only attacks people with certain genetics, like in that one Hitman level. Which I think is Malta.
The
one in Spain where you can kill him with the cannon as he escapes in a plane.
Yes.
He's got a lab underneath the castle.
It's Italy.
Yeah.
It's based on a real place, but it's
yeah,
not.
it's basically a really gorgeous place that you've seen it. It's a standard Google background. It's.
I like to snipe him from the church tower.
Oh, I like that one.
Especially if you make him look into the telescope, you can shoot the end of the telescope. and the bullet. I read in it, the bullet doesn't go down the telescope, but the telescope just shifts so far that it just jabs into his brain. And I'm into that.
I quite like the.
What a priest to kill on that level as well. I quite like that.
It's. I'd say it's the most populous level where I am the most comfortable being able to kill every single person. I don't think you could get away with killing every single person in Paris.
Yeah, definitely. You 100% can.
Right.
Because the thing about Paris is that the Hitman programming, the AI, obviously they can only have a certain amount of people who actually do things. They have to have really large crowds. So a lot of the people in Hitman in Paris are essentially just set dressing. You can just walk into the big ballroom. You can walk into the room with the catwalk and just machine gun everybody. As long as you've taken out all of the guards, no one does anything. They all just stand there.
Oh, okay.
Like an American primary school. Don't know why I felt the need to get that in there. Near the end, hadn't said anything particularly bad. Everyone's going to be concentrating on you talking about Guerrilla City or whatever.
Yeah, those. To be fair, it's not as if anything actually ever happens at those primary schools. It's just just the paid actors.
But if you take enough time, you can 100% kill everyone in Paris. And I hope that's the out of context bit that you use as the trailer for this episode.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I think we should talk about one thing because it does actually have quite a decent Star Trek-y question.
Ooh.
Which is, do you live in a beautiful society where all your needs are met, but you kind of have to do what you're told, or would you engage in the freedom of space piracy?
I mean, this is the question behind fucking Demolition Man, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Dennis Leary is like, I
I just want to live in a world where I can smoke cigars and swear and eat fast food. And it's like, sorry, every restaurant is Taco Bell, so you've already got that one covered. Don't worry about it.
I just want to live in a world where I can completely steal Bill Hicks's act, but because he was never successful on this side of the Atlantic, people went, "No, I've done it."
Yeah, exactly.
Years ago, I saw an article about people you hate more than you should, and they were talking about Carlos Mencia. And it's like, if you hate Carlos Mencia because he stole jokes, should you hate Dennis O'Leary for stealing his act from Bill Hicks? And the comment section of the article was all English people going, "We do hate Dennis O'Leary for stealing his act from Bill Hicks." That's why Dennis O'Leary's never been massively big over here.
But yeah, no, I'd rather 100%. I'd rather live in that society because I'm not a thrill seeker. In a world where holodecks exist, any excitement I really need, I can just program up on a holiday. I mean, I've said it. I'll say it before. I'll say it again. I would love to just live in like a human zoo that an alien takes me to and just provides everything that I need. Like if there's no, don't get me wrong, I'll miss Laura and that, or but. Like, if there's no expectations on me whatsoever, I'll have a great time. Every day they just push in a tray of just like a Burger King, and I'm like, great.
Yeah, because my family history. One of my aunts looked up a family tree, and it's like fucking 600 years of being peasants. And all I do is look at that sort of period and go, not one of you thought I could just join the Royal Navy. And the minute we get to the Caribbean, fuck off. Right, and then get work on a pirate boat, which is what I would have done. As somebody living in London, as I do, if I was alive in the 1600s when the golden age of piracy was happening, I think that would seem to be a better option than, living in 17th century London. So when it comes to this sort of thing, that's where I get a bit trickier, because with this, it is no. You live in the Starfleet world, so all your needs are met on an insane level. Is that more fun than being a space pirate? And the answer is, what sort of space pirate? Because if it's these guys, yeah, no, I'll give you that. It's not that good. But if it's fucking Yondo for Star Lord, yeah, that seems pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just stay in my utopia, thanks.
Yeah, because the thing is, I suppose actually when you come down to it, I do say that, but I could actually just go and be a pirate now, and I don't.
You could do, yeah. You could move to Somalia, yeah. But I'm not going to do it. If I was in the future, I would just want to have a fucking gaff, a place to stay, a housemate who fucks off for quite a long time, and then when Commander Riker does come back, he's my housemate. The first thing he does is he walks into the living room, he goes up to his scratch card on the wall, and he just silently scratches another species off, and then turns around and just stares at me. That's what I want.
Did you bring back a recording of that for the holodeck?
Nah. I've masturbated to a lot of things, but never to a friend. Don't want to break that bond.
And I think that's a good place to leave it for this week.
Probably, yeah.
Hope you enjoyed the show.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.